To the King of England, you are not a citizen, but just a vegetable in his giant garden. He thinks he is the gardener, and you are just a plant waiting to be harvested. You are an ordinary guy in the American colonies. Life is simple and hard. You wake up early and work until the dark. You grow wheat or tobacco on your own land. You have a good diet and eat better than most people in Europe. You take your extra crops and make whiskey to sell. You know everyone in your small town. You elect your own local mayor. You feel totally free. Europe is very far away from you. In Europe, kings fight for endless power and glory. Here, people look for a quiet, new life. Some people came for religious freedom. Some people were poor and wanted a fresh start. You do not care about British lords or castles. You care about your family and your farm. In the north, the French trade fur with the Native Americans. Fur is like the oil of the 18th century because it brings massive wealth. The British want this wealth very badly. They fight the French for the wild land. This is the 7 Years' War. It is a massive global war, but you only see the local fights in the dark forests. Finally, Britain wins the war. The French lose their lands. You celebrate with your neighbors. You think life will be perfect and peaceful now. But Britain has a huge problem. War is very expensive. The British government gets a massive debt of £122 million. This is a terrifying amount of money. The king needs gold. He looks across the ocean. He looks at your small home.
The king says the war was fought to protect you. Therefore, he says you must pay the bill. Suddenly, your world changes completely. British soldiers arrive in your town. They wear bright red coats and carry heavy muskets. You must feed these soldiers with your own food. You must let them sleep in your house. It is the strict law, and you cannot say no. You hate these soldiers. You are a strict religious man who prays on Sundays. You sit in the quiet church, listening to the priest. But these young British soldiers drink alcohol and dance outside your church on holy days. You feel deeply insulted. Then the new taxes begin. The British create the Stamp Act. Now you must buy a special British stamp for every single piece of paper. If you want to read a newspaper, you pay a tax. If you want to send a letter to your mother, you pay a tax. Even court papers and business contracts cost extra money. You are completely furious. You have absolutely no voice in the British Parliament. Nobody in London asks you about these rules. They have never been to your town. They do not know your life. They treat your colony like a garden that just produces money. You and your friends start to meet in secret. You join a group called the Sons of Liberty. You do not use polite words anymore. You take aggressive action. You hunt down the tax collectors in the dark. You beat them in the dirt streets. Soon, nobody wants to collect the king's taxes because they are too scared of you. One cold night, local people throw stones at the soldiers. The young soldiers panic and shoot into the unarmed crowd. 5 people die on the cold street. Blood is finally spilled.
Britain tries a new trick to calm you down. They send very cheap tea to your city, but they keep the hated tax on the tea. They think you will buy it because it is cheap. They think you are stupid and greedy. You say, no, you will not pay their unfair tax. You and your friends dress up as Native Americans. You wait for the dark night and sneak onto the big British ships. You break open the heavy boxes of tea. You throw tons of tea into the dark salt water. You turn the entire harbor into a giant teapot. In London, King George III is furious. He is slowly going crazy. Sometimes he walks alone in his royal garden and talks to the trees. He orders small bushes to attack like soldiers. This mad king wants to punish your city. He demands pure gold for the ruined tea. You realize you cannot fight a whole empire alone. The small colonies must unite. You get a new flag with a picture of a snake. The flag says, "Do not tread on me." You warn the big British Empire that if they step on you, you will bite with deadly poison. Leaders from all colonies meet together. A young man named Thomas Jefferson writes a very powerful document. It is the Declaration of Independence. He writes that all men are created equal by God. He writes that you have a natural right to life, liberty, and happiness. You read these beautiful words and feel a new, proud spirit. But there is a dark shadow here. Many rich leaders who talk about freedom still own hundreds of slaves. To them, a slave is not a human, but private property, like a horse or a simple plow.
The real war officially starts. The British Army is massive, rich, and highly professional. You are just a tired farmer with a simple hunting gun.
The famous General George Washington leads your army. He actually loses most of his big battles. In a fair fight on an open green field, the redcoats crush you easily. So you stop fighting fair. You fight a dirty guerrilla war. You are a great hunter who knows the dark woods. You hide behind large trees and shoot British officers from the deep shadows. You destroy their supply wagons and steal their fresh food. You run away deep into the forest before they can catch you. The war is very brutal and bloody. It is hard to know who is a true friend. Some of your neighbors stay loyal to the British king. You call them loyalists and you hate them. You threaten them and force them to run away to Canada. Then a miracle happens. France sees that you are hurting Britain. France hates Britain, so they decide to help you. They send shiny gold, fast ships, and trained soldiers. Smart officers arrive from Europe to train your simple farmers. Spain joins the fight too and attacks British ships around the whole world. Sadly, the native tribes are caught in the middle. Some help you and some help the British. But the white men bring a terrible silent weapon called smallpox. Infected blankets destroy whole native villages in just a few weeks. The war drags on for long years. Britain is bleeding too much money. They spend £20 million every single year. The huge debt is crushing their economy. Finally, at a place called Yorktown, the trapped British army surrenders. You did it. You bankrupted the biggest empire on earth.
In old Europe, rich aristocrats rule everything. But here, a simple school teacher can become a famous general. A poor man can become a powerful politician. You separate the church from the state. You do not want the greedy government to corrupt your pure religion. You look up at your new national flag. It has bright stars and stripes. Time moves forward quickly. A completely new generation grows up around you. These young, energetic people do not remember the old British king. They do not know about the hated Stamp Act. They only know the flag with the stars and stripes. They feel completely American in their hearts. Your new country grows extremely fast. Across the ocean, the famous French leader Napoleon needs quick money for his own massive wars in Europe. He offers to sell a huge piece of land called Louisiana for a very cheap price. The American president agrees immediately. Your country suddenly doubles in size overnight. You pack your bags and move west. You build new farms on the fresh land. You do not need to ask any king for permission. You just take your family and go. You build small wooden houses and plant new crops. You are building a powerful new world with your own rough hands. The future feels completely open and bright. You have problems, but they are your own problems to solve. You are not a tiny vegetable in a royal garden anymore. You are the master of your own big field. You write your own destiny on the blank map. You feel the pure, fresh wind on your face.
Years later, Britain tries to fight you again. You try to invade Canada to free them, but the angry Canadians fight back and beat you badly. Then the British ships sail across the dark ocean. British soldiers march directly into your new capital city named Washington. They burn down the White House and other big government buildings. The flames light up the dark night sky. It is a terrifying moment for the young country. But you do not surrender. You fight back fiercely to protect your home. The British finally realize something very important. They can burn a wooden building, but they cannot rule your spirit anymore. They pack their ships and leave forever. You are a completely new breed of people now. You are a farmer, a hunter, and a tough survivor. You survived a crazy king, terrible taxes, bloody battles, and burned cities. You build your own life from the dirt. You make your own simple laws. You look out over the vast open land stretching to the sunset. You remember the men who died in the cold snow to give you this freedom. You remember the tea in the harbor and the secret meetings in the dark. You hold your gun and look at your growing crops. You know that nobody will ever step on you again without getting bitten. You are no longer a simple subject of a faraway empire. You are a citizen of a new world. You take a deep breath of the free air. You are a free American.